Hi folks, welcome to another episode of Methanol Madness brought to us by Daltons Landscape Supplies. No AJ Batt tonight, he's tripping around the world once again, off to a moonshine festival of all things, and he's making his way out to the World of Outlaws final, which is happening at Charlotte Speedway, so a pretty good trip for him. Filling in his spot today is Louise Smith, our regular contributor to the show. Welcome, Louise. You made your way out to Ellesmere Speedway on the weekend.
Yeah, first meeting of many for our team, so we're super excited to be back on the track. It was a great day.
Yeah, 4 of our classes racing at the track, which we will review shortly. But to get the show started, as always, Crash of the Week. And this is brought to us by Elite Re-Roofing, Mike Bell and his crew for all your roofing needs. And this comes from a couple of seasons back, Louise. It's the midgets here. And we can see Jack Lowe, one of those orange cars, in 3rd position now. And all of a sudden, something goes wrong.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate for Jack. Those cars are so sensitive, and as soon as he kind of entered in there, it was all she wrote, and it was done and dusted for Jack.
Yeah, just hit a rut there, and we can see it. It was all done by himself there. The car started to bike up. He tried to correct it, and a fairly violent barrel roll there. That was in the early days when Jack was really just cutting his teeth a couple of seasons ago. And of course, he went on to have that good drive with Seamount Racing last year, and he did pretty well also. So Jack Lowe, he'd be one of the favourites this year for our Access Man Midget Car title. Remember, that's on the 3rd and 4th of February. Okay, time to move on to the Pro Ben review, and a couple of meetings to review. The first one we'll look at is Ellesmere, and a good turnout, as you said before, Louise, with Ellesmere. The quarter midgets were racing. What were the results and how did they all go?
Yeah, it was a really good outing, especially for all of our rookie drivers. We had 5 of them attending, and they all put on a really good show, and nothing went too horribly wrong or anything like that, so it was a nice smooth meeting for all of them. So we had Jack and Darcy taking out our heat race wins, and then it would be Jack to win the feature again, his 4th of the season already. Yep. 2nd went to Darcy Rasmussen, and 3rd to Jackson Clark. Yeah,
good racing. Looks like there's good drivers are rising to the top again, but Darcy Rasmussen's probably the biggest improving driver that I can see from last year. Jack Brownlee's the fastest lap time there, 18.11 seconds, a pretty fast time around the track, but it was Darcy Rasmussen that wasn't too far behind. So keep up the good work, Darcy. We want to see you going hard this year, and of course Jackson Clark poking his nose up there as well. The TQs had a good turnout as well. Some pretty good racing. Louise, what were some of the results there?
Yeah, it was really good for a lot of the TQs. Many of them have already headed up to Nelson to get a few laps under their belt there, but for many it was also their first meeting, so it was cool to see everyone kind of shake their cars down and get back into it. So we had Aaron Finlay and Ben Morgan winning heat races there, but the feature win actually went to Dylan Forsey, which was his first of his TQ career, which was really cool to see.
How interesting is that? Dylan Forsey gets his first feature win, and he's driving sprint cars this year as well, so it's going to be a big season for Dylan. And remember, he had that pretty big crash last year. He's recovered now, and looks like he's going to be doing double duty from time to time, but primarily focusing on the sprint car. So the next class racing in Ellesmere was the modified sprints, and Harry McIntyre continued on his good form. He took out the feature race and was very dominant in his racing over the weekend. A good result for Shane Paul Cornelius. Shane's been battling away for 2 or 3 years. He got 2nd in the feature race. Congratulations to you, Shane. That's a good result for you. And Brendan Hopkins, he's a 2nd-year driver, and the 94C car took out 3rd spot. The next class we'll look at is the V6 wingless sprints, and we had some pretty interesting racing going on here. And it was Andrew Gregg that took out the feature, the 75C car. He was the most consistent, also had the fastest lap time for the day of 16.04 seconds. Interesting, Mark Morris took out 2nd, and Bailey Clive, a rookie to the class this year. Bailey, the son of Kevin Clive, got 3rd in his first feature win, which was quite a good result. Of note, Corey Duckmanton, welcome to the class. Corey, 2nd in one of your heat races. That'll be a real highlight for you so early in the season. And I noticed that your lap times were pretty good also. And Kirk Shooter Hawkins was mixing it up with Mark Morris, Louise. That might be the new rivalry this year, and they were banging wheels for 4 or 5 laps.
Yeah, it was definitely some really good racing between the two, and I definitely think that he may just fill those shoes of Andrew Marker for Shooter Hawkins to have someone to rival against.
That's good stuff. We love watching Shooter Hawkins racing in the V6 wingless sprints. It's always exciting. Well, the next meeting we'll look at is the Cromwell meeting, and there was 2 classes down there for our Ruapuna classes. There was a V6 wingless sprints. I think Kane Jemmett travelled down there. No result to speak of for Kane. but it was the Southern Sprint Car Series and some pretty good racing, Lou. I'm not sure if you caught up with it, but they tell me there was no yellow lights with all heats in a feature.
Yes, it was a great night of racing. Pretty unheard for Cromwell, but it was fantastic to see them get some good laps in down there and to see many of our guys go really well.
So the official result there, Caleb Bourne took out the first leg of the Southern Sprint Car Series. That's a great result for him. Adam Evans second. He's a pretty good peddler from down south. And for third, it was Steve Duff Jr. Steve Duff Jr. seems to go so well in Cromwell, doesn't it? It seems to be his favourite track.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting seeing which drivers pick up, their best results at certain tracks. Everyone definitely has their favourites.
Yeah, well done to you, Steve, and that's continuing form. Remember, for those that watch the Gas Man, he's now the current CTRA V6 wingless sprint champion, which he won last year, and continuing on the good form this year in the sprint car. Okay, after the break, we'll catch up with dirt track news.
Welcome to Wellington's largest caravan and RV shop. CB Caravans and RV Centre look after repairs and maintenance, and they are leak specialists. CB Caravans and RV Centre import UK caravans. Need to sell? They can help. CB Caravans and RV Centre, your caravan solution. Catch up with Will and Wendy today. The team at Edge Parts and Performance have got safety covered. They're proud stockists of Simpson safety products. Helmets, head and neck restraints, harnesses, racing suits, gloves, shoes and more. Simpson safety products provide an unparalleled level of comfort, performance and protection. Come and check out their new range of Simpson suits, lightweight 2-layer SFI approved suits that offers flexibility and functionality all in one. They've also got the Red Devil carbon fibre lightweight racing helmet in stock.
Okay, time for dirt track news, brought to us by Wendy and Will from CB Caravans and RV Centre. And it was a great night for Dean Brindle, Luke McClymont and Jamie Larson, who all happen to be sponsored by CB Caravans and RV Centre. And it was Luke McClymont we might talk about first, Louise. He had a very solid performance in his debut in the midget.
Yeah, we're very familiar with Luke's talent here in the South Island, so to see him not only get the opportunity but then to excel at that opportunity in his first meeting out with a 5th place finish is really cool for him.
Yeah, it was a fantastic result for the Sea Mountain Racing team, but Will and Wendy, who were the sponsors, were watching Luke make his way around the Big Bay Park track, and it's a difficult track to navigate. The speeds are very high, and he acquitted himself beautifully, so well done to you, Luke. Dean Brindle was dominant in the sprint cars, and again he cleared away in the feature race there. Lou, what'd you make of it?
Yeah, watching that first start there, I wasn't expecting him to kind of make quite the break that he did, but it was really spectacular to watch, and he held that lead for most of the race, which was really impressive.
Yeah, Dean talking about the changes in the Maxim chassis this year, and he's become very comfortable with it, so obviously the setups are working, and that car looked really hooked up and on rails. The third thing we'll talk about was Matthew Leversedge, a pretty interesting night for Matthew.
Yeah, not the way that he wanted to start the season, I'm sure, just getting a little bit hooked up with Cole Wood there, just briefly coming into turn 4, and unfortunately sent him a little bit further than he probably anticipated. So yeah, not a good night for Matthew Leversedge.
Yeah, it's so frustrating when you have an early season crash. Your car's looking perfect, it's all panelled up and it's got the stickers and everything, and looking at some of those photographs, the car was a lot worse for wear after that crash. So a good result at Bay Park for their opening night. Some pretty good racing there, and certainly enjoyed by a lot of people. Some other international news. Joel Myers Jr., our Californian flyer, crashed out of the 360s at Tulare. Not a good night for Joel. He sort of got all out of shape there, Louise.
Yeah, it was with a lot of cars, it was bound to happen to a few people. It was definitely a trying weekend for some, but it was really cool to see those that did get a victory, including Corey Day actually taking out the whole weekend when Logan Seavey unfortunately got disqualified from that last feature. So a bit of a shame for Logan, but really cool for Corey.
Yeah, I really like Corey Day. I've been watching him for a number of years. He's changed his sprint car team recently, but that guy can really perform. I'd love to see him down here in New Zealand at some stage. And the last event we'll look at was the midget car feature at Bay Park, and it was Aaron Hodgson. We know Aaron's a real flyer, but he had that 35A car going as well as ever and absolutely dominated that midget car feature.
Yeah, Aaron's definitely a really good peddler, but I think more importantly to note also was second Brad Mosen and third Michael Pickens, and I think that rivalry between the two of them being at the hottest of their game will continue all the way through until the New Zealand title once again.
Absolutely. So for us, Aaron Hodgson, you've got the first feature on board, and the way you did it, mate, it was pretty dominant. That car is an absolute flying machine, and Brad and Michael will be doing well to catch up with you and some of the setup that you've got there. That's all good for the New Zealand Midget Car Championship happening here on the 3rd and 4th of February. Of course, that's sponsored by Access Man. Well, Speedway's enjoying a big profile these days, certainly with the social media and television coverage. And Lou, we had What Now out at the track filming a story the other day.
Yeah, it was definitely awesome to have them kind of approach the Speedway and want to do something as well. So we had Brooke Clark, the quarter midget driver. She's 15 years old and she stepped up and she did really well at promoting our sport and our class, and it came out really awesome.
Yeah, good stuff, Brooke. We really appreciate what you've done there, and we'll just have a quick look at that item now.
Hi, I'm Brooke and I'm a quarter midget driver. I started racing when I was 8 because my dad used to drive, and when I became a little bit older, he bought a car for me and my sister this year. I was so small that we had to put padding underneath me so I could see over the bonnet. When I first started, I was pretty slow, but after a while you get used to it and the nerves go away, and then you can start to go faster. During Speedway season, which is from November to April, I race once a week on Saturdays.
72 Brooke Clark, and away we go.
We spend the off-season working on cars and improving them for the upcoming season. Mostly my dad and my crew chief Lionel and the rest of my crew do the mechanical work.
Keep going, boys. Take that back tyre off and switch it over.
My car is a 250cc quarter midget that can go up to about 90 k's on the straight. Most people in New Zealand can't get their driver's licence till they're 16, but if you drive quarter midgets, then you can get your dirt track licence from as young as 8. What I love about racing is probably the adrenaline rush of being out on the track.
Brooke Clark sitting in there in second, Isabel Clark in third.
It's your only focus and you don't have to think about anything else. I also love everybody that we've met through Speedway and everybody involved in the Speedway community.
Track away from Brooke Clark on the inside. Oh, there's been a tangle up here.
I've had a couple crashes over the few years that I've raced, but nothing too major. One of my most recent crashes, I collided with my sister and then ended up flipping into the wall. I don't think my dad was very happy with having to pay the repairs. Last season I raced 19 meetings. I came away with 12 top 10 finishes, 3 top 5, I passed 77 cars, and I had an average feature finish of 8th place. Being one of the few girls in the sport definitely does inspire me because I want to prove to everybody that I can be just as good even though I'm a girl. Some of my biggest inspirations are the female drivers over in the States like Kaylee Bryson, Taylor Reimer and Jade Avedissian. One day I'd love to have the opportunity to go over to the States and race against them. If you're wondering if this is the sport for you, then you should have a try. And by the way girls, it's really fun when you beat the boys.
Well, great to see Brooke Clark promoting quarter midget racing, and Louise, you were telling me off camera that it's been a real positive towards young ladies getting into the quarter midgets.
Yeah, absolutely. We obviously had Brooke and Isabel being the sister duo kind of out of Ruapuna, as well as we've got Macy Brownlees and Monika Rawson, so we've definitely got that good huddle, as well as all of our new girls that have come on this year, which we've got 4 of them and potentially even more to come. So the growth is crazy and the interest is really, really healthy for the sport.
Good stuff, and for those that have been watching quarter midget racing for a while, we know that all our young champions come from that grade. They really cut their teeth on it. So if you're interested in getting your daughter or son into quarter midgets, make your way down to Ruapuna sometime, talk to one of the parents down there and they'll point you in the right direction. Okay folks, it's competition time, and those that have been on the Facebook page will see that we've got a share and win competition. We've got 20 family passes up for grabs for opening night. All you need to do is share or comment on the post that's provided, and you'll go into the draw to be one of the 10 winners that will receive 2 family passes next week, and we'll make mention of that on the Methanol Madness. Okay folks, time for final thoughts, and Louise, a bit of information coming in.
Yeah, we've got practice this weekend, which I'm sure plenty of people are really looking forward to. We're going to get to see some of those rookies that we haven't seen yet in certain classes, like the sprint cars, that we're going to get to see hit the track for the first time in that class, so that'll be very interesting.
Yep.
A lot of people, it's just about getting more laps under their belt before the season officially gets underway, which is really important with some really big events coming up.
And a bit of information coming in from America.
Yeah, so it'll be really cool. We've got, over the next month, we'll have Peter Honeybell from BSL Racing. He'll be in the States racing the USAC West Coast Midget Swing, which includes really important crown jewel events like the Hangtown 100 and the Turkey Night. So he'll be over there for 7 meetings, which is really, really cool for Peter.
Oh, well, good stuff. Those that know Peter Honeybell know he's an ex-New Zealand champion. He's been down to Ruapuna several times and always performs very well. He's driven TQs and midgets, and that'll be a great step up for his career. And Peter, we wish you well for that. The other bit of information, Louise, you may know something about, is the High Limit Promotions has taken over the USAC champs, is that right? Or sorry, the All-Stars.
Yeah, the All-Star Circuit of Champions has been bought by Kyle Larson and Brad Sweet, which I'm sure people are very familiar with those two drivers, very high-profile drivers. So it's cool for them to kind of take on the next step in their careers, which is, you know, taking on a bigger series than the High Limit one that they already owned and ran this year.
Yep.
I think that the future of the sport is in very good hands with Kyle and Brad. Obviously, those two really know what they're doing, so it'll be interesting to see where they take the series next year.
Yeah, well, they've certainly got a big market share of Speedway racing now, and those two series that they look after will obviously enjoy the benefits of 2 high-profile drivers promoting them. Okay folks, that's the end of the show. Short and sweet this week. We're all looking forward to our first practice, which is happening down at the track this Saturday, the 28th of October. If you get a chance to bring the family down, make sure you come through the pits and have a good look at some of these cars and some of the drivers. But until next time, keep your foot up it.